Who is the bigger numbskull? Now, Donald Trump calls Jerome Powell numbskull, moron, Trump hater. But to me, he is the bigger numbskull because there's a reason why the Federal Reserve refused to cut rates, and I'll tell you more very shortly. And there's a breaking point on crude oil. If crude oil goes above $101, there's a very high chance we go into recession. Let me explain more in detail. This is a must-watch video. Share with your friends. But before that, disclaimer applied as usual. Yeah. Okay, let's go into this. Now, crude oil basically bottomed out recently when it was trading somewhere around here. And we already know that there's a good buy signal because we have the big boys indicator informing us a buy. And of course, we do a triangle formation. We all know that once the color change over from yellow, red to yellow is a buy. And interestingly, at the same time, if you notice that we do have something more, we have the diamond here that basically gave a very strong buy signal. And once we draw the line, this is where we add on our position. And of course, we do not only share with our friends, we share with our students, and we tell everybody that it's a good time to buy some crude oil. And because there'll be a good chance it will rebound together with gold and silver. And that was then done since the 1st of June period. So you can see that we really do things according to really telling people with evidence. And we said that if crude oil is to go up, we could see all the way to about $77 to even as high as $80. And seemingly it all happened according to plan. So the question will be, where will it be going next? Well, there's a very good chance that we're going to see, excuse me, crude oil going further all the way to 81.55. Now, this is not going to be the end because if the crude oil continue to go higher and we ever reach $101, that will create the disaster catalyst that I'm talking about earlier. I'll tell you more in detail. So let's look at crude oil right now with the conventional chart. You can see over here itself, that was one good reason why we looked to buy recently because of the Williams indicator at the bottom here itself. And every time the Williams indicator comes in, we know that it's a buying momentum. And now you're crossed above the 200-day moving average with the market rebound here. So very, very good chance we will see it coming up soon. All right. But is that the only reason on technical? No, because we know that right now, this Iran and Israel war itself, right, is a main driver that pushed the crude higher. But the thing is what is going to happen from here? Why is that crude oil is going up? Well, you must understand this. Iran, UAE, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, these few countries alone, they basically is part of the world oil production up to 40%. And the thing is this is the route where the crude oil goes out to the whole world itself. And the thing is the Straits of Hormuz is a very important area. And if this get affected because of the fight between Israel and Iran, this will hold everything out. And if the oil is not able to go to the whole world, we got a big issue, right? So the thing is this right now, right? What's the main thing? Why am I talking about crude? Now, because let's take a look here. Since 1972, you can see that crude oil, whenever it's go up by about 40 to 50%, you can see that every time we're up by 40% on average, okay, that is where we will see a recession coming in. That means if the crude oil suddenly spike up in prices alone, then after that, we will see a recession. And this is something that since 1972 all the way to this 2023. So now you understand why I feel that Donald Trump is actually the main problem. Because all we know right now, right, the enemy number one, Iran, Israel PM, Benjamin says that Iran views Trump as an obstacle to the nuclear ambition, have alleged plot to kill him. And of course, this Donald Trump replied by undecided, and I may do it, may not do it. All right. So the thing is this, if really because of some action comes in, this could be a breaking point. So look at it right now, right? If you look at crude oil versus the Dow Jones, we can see that there's a very interesting relationship between them. So if let's say now from where we are right now, and if crude oil goes up by, let's say, 40% or 50%, right, we will actually come to a point of 101. That means that if crude oil really trades all the way from where we are right now by 40% to 50%, and that will be 101, definitely this will cause the stock market to fall pretty badly. And that's why please watch out for this number, okay? It is going to be a very scary number. But of course, apart than this war, could it be more than that? Well, I believe that the main thing is not the war, but it could be a catalyst, because we all know that now Donald Trump really wants the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates. And we know that for sure that Donald Trump, this particular move itself is because he wants the stock market, he wants the economy to grow, he wants to reduce costs for himself. But the problem is this, all right? I feel that he is a bigger numbskull here unless he has a big plan behind it. So apparently now, as on Straits Time, Trump floats firing numbskull Fed Chair Jerome Powell. So you can see that he basically, going to fire. Now this guy, Jerome Powell, was the same person that he appointed back then in the first appointment when he was the first president. When he was president the first time. So now on this Truth Social, he smeared the banker, calling him numbskull, moron, and obvious Trump hater. So, but then again, he must understand that Donald Trump was the one who appointed him first. So the thing is this right now, right? Jerome Powell replied, and he said that his dismissal will be unlawful and he has no intention of stepping down voluntarily if Trump asks. Okay, so the thing is that we all know that by next year, Jerome Powell will step down, that's for sure, and Trump will not hold him back, and of course Trump will put someone in. So next year is all right. I'm very, very confident that the stock market will fly, but before that, we may see some selling. So Jerome Powell continued to say that Donald Trump continued to say Jerome Powell is costing a lot of money to the United States because of the not cutting rate or and he says that we should be 2.5 points lower, all right, and save billions on the Biden short-term debt, all right. So basically, he's pushing blame all to Biden, okay. All right, we all know that by May 2026, right, Powell will be ending his term, and of course, most likely he will not continue. And the thing is this, right? Trump is saying that Europe have 10 cuts and we have none. And he feels that he can do a better job than these people. Donald Trump, as usual, always better than everybody, yeah? Okay, so let's just understand why I feel that Donald Trump is the numbskull. Okay, let me just reflect this. Take a look. Whenever the Federal Reserve cut interest rate, you can see that since 1990, since 2000, since 2008, since 2020. So every time when there's a very, very sharp cutting of rates, okay, we will see a recession, okay? Now, this is a very important thing because the Federal Reserve, when they cut interest rate, is because they want to save the economy. And when that happens, it's because the economy is having trouble. So now you understand why, right? Jerome Powell doesn't want to cut rates so fast because he knows that by cutting the rate too fast, it will create a mayhem in the market. It will cause inflation to rocket up. And then if that happens, it's even worse. That's the reason why this 2% has two different views. We understand their agenda, but the thing is this, someone had to pay. So this particular analyst called Koma Sarikuma, I agree with him that it will be very irresponsible for the Federal Reserve to cut interest rate now. Right? Who is he? Is already watched his video on CNBC. I really agree with what he said. And he's a very wise man. And he thinks that it's very clear that he knows that if this will be done now, it will really cause a big inflation to come into the market. So the thing is this, Fed don't cut rate. Why? Because it's very clear. You're going to see this. The US economy is not doing well at all. Look at it right now, guys. Take a look. The US economy, is it doing very well? It's not, because you can see right now the US retail sales, right, month on month is actually going down. The April spike was because people are front-running the tariffs, but you can see now in May it has resumed the selling, or at least people are not buying, and this is not a very good sign. And in fact, if you look at the US ISM service PMI, that when it goes down to the lower end, which is here, we will enter a recession. And where are we right now? We are just very marginally away. And when that happens itself, right, during the same period of time, we can see that although the GDP could be increasing, but it doesn't mean that the market cannot fall into recession. So even though the GDP numbers are moving up itself, right, the gross domestic product, sorry, not GDP, my bad, okay, is doing that itself, right, it's rising up, but it doesn't mean that the market is going to be a good one, because we can see that always the ISM service PMI is always a big concern in the market. And of course, you can see that when the Fed fund rate do come down drastically, you can see the consumer price index also fall. So it's not that basically cutting rate itself, right, the inflation will immediately hit, but definitely it will give a big of issue. And then after that, consumer will start to really sell because of the going to recession mode, and people will start to really stop the production, and then it will cause a lot of repercussion into the market. So that's why the thing is this: you can see now the US crude oil versus Fed fund rate itself, right? If there's any chance that the Federal Reserve really decide to cut interest rate in the way that Donald Trump wants, you see crude oil price shooting up, because it ever happened before. So if that happened, then I can tell you that if crude oil goes up to the 110 level, which I just 100 level, right, 101, that will definitely create the recession impact in the market. So the thing is this: if the Donald Trump get what he wants, basically, crude oil shoot up to 101, definitely we will have a very big issue, and recession will not be too far away. So guys, take note of that. Look at the crude oil market, and wish you all the best. This is Kel signing off. Take care and have a great time in the market. Bye-bye.